I know it's late. Happy Friday night. Let's jump right into it. So, big takeaway number one is that it focuses on Leanne, but not only her, but her extreme paranoia around her old group, the old cult, coming back and capturing her, recapturing her, and forcing her to go back with them. Also, they were obsessed with Baby Jericho and all that kind of stuff. So, Baby Jericho had been real and then not real and then real again and not real so many different times that it was hard to wrap your mind around it. But now, Baby Jericho is a real living baby, and that's kind of where the season starts off with them just loving on this baby, and it's the baby that they always wish they had. I love how M. Night Shyamalan took advantage of the gap in between the seasons, because if you're not remembering some of the things that happen, it will trick you into thinking that's how it always was. We're going to get to one particular character who was not always there, and I think this is going to be one of the big lines of the story. But definitely, Leanne is super paranoid. The first episode, she doesn't want to leave the house, and they all want to get out of the house. They want to go to the beach, right? And so Leanne gets them to leave her home. She stays home. Her family goes out to her family, which is also an adopted family. So many things have happened. I don't want to digress, but it's only been 3 months since the big finale of the last season. So it just it asks the audience to assume too much, I think. So she gets them to leave. They go to the beach, and the house is robbed. It was really kind of a nothing episode. Definitely not a great season premiere, but I still do like the show. And so the house gets robbed. And we also find these flies, right, that are just around all the time, particularly in Leanne's room, but also throughout the house in general, crawling out of the walls and stuff like that. And so she's super paranoid about that, and we realize it's because of the body behind the walls in the house. They've all been flocking around that body, and that's the reason why they're even around. Now, it's those and bees, these different kinds of creatures, but we don't see the bees until the second episode. So, getting into big takeaway number two from the first two episodes. Once again, if I didn't clarify, I'll be covering the first two episodes because that's what I didn't see the first episode, and I am ashamed. By the way, rocking the Philly shirt. Don't want to digress, but I just saw it on the camera, and I was like, hey, the show's taking place in Philly, rocking the Philly shirt. Anyway, so big takeaway number two is that so Dorothy has this big get together, mommies and babies, right? And at this point, Leanne, she's on full alert because everybody left her at the house and the house got robbed. Okay, so she's thinking, it's only a matter of time. Somebody's going to be here. Somebody's going to come and either kidnap her or hurt Jericho, all of the above. And she really has taken ownership of this family, but she's doing a whole bunch of weird stuff. Like she keeps staring into the hole from the last season, the one in their basement. Also, she talks to Julian about their relationship. She actually likes their relationship, I guess you would say, because she didn't even mention the relationship, just them getting all close and cuddly, so to speak. She preferred that. But Julian has a new girlfriend. We'll get to her in a second. So the mommies and babies event happens, and I just feel like this is what M. Night does with a lot of, especially because his shows are a slow burn. He leaves the first couple episodes just leaving you wanting more, kind of scratching your head like what's going on? Like what's the purpose of this episode? Like the whole first episode was just basically somebody robbing the house. The whole point of the second episode was just this mommies and babies get together, or so we thought. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is where it gets interesting. Leanne says something in the first episode that is played upon in the second episode, and I think it's going to continue to happen. She said that they don't know what to look for. Remember, because she's paranoid, she's keeping an eye out for members of the cult. She says, you all don't know what to look for, so how could you help me spot these people, right? But did you catch what she said after that? She said that they have a way of sneaking in and entering your life without you even noticing. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen, can you think of a character who has snuck into the cast without anyone even noticing? I bring you, I'm not even doing like the pictures and everything, which I should have been doing, like the overlays and stuff. I'm all over the place. I bring you Vera. I think I'm going to bring you Vera if I can find the picture of her. I think she's there in the back. There in the back. You can see her. She has not been in the past seasons. Where did she come from? Why is she taking such a prominent position in the show at this point? I think that she is a plant. I think that she is from the cult. And it seems like with Leanne being on such high alert that she would notice this, especially because she has an indirect tie to her through Julian, right? They're both interested in this same guy. So you think she would at least not take too kindly to her being around. But it's going right under the radar. And maybe M. Night thinks that that's going to happen with a lot of people. They're just going to not think anything of her. But that's the first thing I realized. This was the cast we were used to seeing all the time. And Natalie was a black girl from the last season who was, I believe, she was involved with Julian at one point too. Because Vera is his second girlfriend. If you don't count Leanne, who's kind of just been there the whole time. So that's who we were used to seeing. Why all of a sudden are we seeing this Vera character and we're supposed to just let her fly under the radar? I think that she is a plant. I already said it. And so mark my words, because it's going to happen. So some other things that we get. This house is just super creepy. Like, they have no electricity. Once again, that's kind of the vibe that M. Night was going for, of course. But at the same time, and I mentioned this with some of the people I was watching the show with, it was a darker show in the previous 2 episodes. And M. Night is a skilled filmmaker, and so we want to take note of things like that. Like, why is it brighter now? I think it's because it's supposed to put us in a better mood. It's supposed to let us feel like things are better. It's 3 months removed from the catastrophe. I think her name was Elizabeth, who attacked the house, right? Tried to get Leanne, tried to get Jericho, all the above, and failed, or so we thought. So it's been 3 months since then, and I think he wants to convey the idea to the audience that they've moved on, that they're behind that. But it's still super eerie. It's an eerie feel around the house, and I think we're really seeing that through Leanne's eyes as she's walking around the house, and all these weird happenings are going on. Like the door slamming while she was vacuuming turned out to just be a vent, or was it, right? So I don't think that the house is haunted. They never, like, that was never a vibe of the show, like a haunted house vibe. It was more Leanne and the cult that she was associated with. Now, the third and final takeaway I want to talk about, and this is kind of the biggest one, is Dorothy cannot shake what happened in the summer with her baby. So she was going through the Mummies and Babies event, and one lady who is probably not even important, but I should go back and do my homework on that. She mentions an event in the summer when the ambulances were at their residence, okay? Outside. This is the best picture I have of outside the house, so don't judge me. And the ambulance was outside her house, and she was like, oh, well, we had some mishap in Christmas time or whatever, but it was no big deal. And she had brought it, the woman who was at the Mummies and Babies event had brought it up via Julian's substance abuse issues, right? And so, I hope I don't get demonetized or flagged for that. I was saying it in context of a show. Google, don't hurt me. Anyway, so she says, no, it was hot outside. It was a time in the summer when the ambulance was outside your house, Dorothy. And Dorothy has cognitive dissonance completely. She has a traumatic memory loss. Maybe I just made that up. She cannot or will not remember what happened in the summer. Now, I think, and I said this last season, if you haven't seen the previous 2 seasons, I don't know why you're watching this right now, but go catch up on those links down in the description. If that's the case, then why is she... No, I'm sorry. So my theory has always been that she allowed the baby to overheat and perish in the vehicle. And that was why the ambulances were there. And there are witnesses to this. I'm sure the police remember. Sean even seems to remember. Remember they were going back and forth with that in the second season, whether Sean knew about this and was just putting it off, or whether he had actually convinced himself for his wife's sake that had never happened. Remember, season 1 and season 2, he was adamant constantly that baby was a doll. It was not real, and it was not real because their actual baby was no more. But then at some point, it just switched, and he was all in on the fake baby thing. So I don't know where he's at, but it seems everybody else in the neighborhood knows. They're aware of this. It doesn't help that she's a public figure on the news every night. So I don't know. So recap for the big takeaways. Leanne is super obsessed and paranoid, although these things are around, because that's big takeaway number 2. Vera, the one who snuck into their lives under the radar. And finally, big takeaway number 3. The still looming mysterious history surrounding the actual baby Jericho and what befell him that fateful summer day. That got away from me. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, hit the sub button. Hit it. Just do it. It's free. Click the like button so you don't miss. I was about to say, as we cover your favorite tech and video games, this is not the Granny Geek Show, but speaking of the Granny Geek Show, check that out too. I cover your favorite tech and video games. This is where we cover your favorite movies and TV shows. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry, I'll do more overlays in the next episode. I just forgot to do them. I was just kind of excited. I can't believe I missed the episode. Darn it, I already did the outro. I gotta say bye to you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.